Well, good morning. Today is Wednesday, December the 21st, 2022, and this is Wes Fryer coming to you from Manhattan, Kansas, where it's a little cold and I'm visiting my parents. I want to share some tips for using Mastodon. I set up my Mastodon account back in 2017, but really hadn't used it just a ton. But the things that have happened with Twitter here in December have really, I kind of think, been a tipping point. And so I'm hoping that some of these resources may assist you because Mastodon is getting a lot of attention, but it's also getting criticism. And I have found it to be a really, really awesome platform that I think can fully replace Twitter for the way that I use Twitter to share and collaborate. I use Twitter in a lot of different ways, not only to read news but also just to see what other people who are interested in the kinds of things that I'm interested in professionally, which surround a lot of media literacy topics, but also computer science and educational technology, digital citizenship, things like that. So I don't know where you're seeing this video because I'm going to put this on YouTube, but I think I'm also going to directly upload it to Facebook. I'm going to include a link to this wakelet that I'm going to be kind of scrolling through and showing you resources from. I'm also going to actually just demo on my phone, which I guess will take over my screen when I do this, but you'll be able to see what I'm going to be demoing. And so anyway, this wakelet is just a list of links, and that's probably the best thing to do. So let me just first jump over and show you my favorite app. So I can show some things here, on the computer, on my laptop, but it's a little bit different. And the main way that I use social media tends to be on my phone. So let's just kind of start there. So I'm going to come over here and turn on screen mirroring, which I think is going to cover up my face. But hey, look at that. You can see my screen. So I kind of like to organize my apps so everything's sort of on one page here. And my favorite app, and I've tried like 4 different apps now, or maybe 5 different apps, is called Toot. And so here is what Toot looks like when I am looking on the home screen. Now, one of the things I'm going to talk about are lists because I love lists. It allows me to just see a subsection of the folks I'm following. So if I wanted to go to my media literacy list, here is a reverse chronological feed of the people that I am following in this list that I've created, and I can take a look at what they've shared. I can also go into news. And so I've got a lot of different news entities which have created their own Mastodon accounts, but in some cases there are also bots that are sharing article links. When you just go to your home, and this is on whatever app you're using or the web page, one of the great things about Mastodon is you're seeing a reverse chronological view, and in this case of everybody which I follow. But that's going to be a big mix of things. It's a mix of some politics and look at that. I've got some things I think they're in Russian. It's just a ton of stuff. So sometimes it's helpful to say, hey, I wanna look at my space stuff. That's really cool. And I've got a list of people that are sharing things primarily about space, and so it's a way to filter my feed in that way. So I really, really like that. So Mastodon, is an open source software program. And so different organizations and folks have created these different apps. If you want to find this app, Toot, on the App Store, then you can just go into the App Store, put in the word Toot with a explanation, if I can even spell it right. The word Toot with an exclamation point, ta-da, and there you're going to find it. Meta text is one I've also used that I like some, but Toot is the best one. Oh, and I guess there's an update that's available. So that's the app that I'm going to be first demonstrating. So in addition to using lists, some of the other things that I like being able to get to on Mastodon are favorites. Now, it's important to know that favorites that you share are only other people can't see what you've favorited. All right, you can see them, and so they're kind of like bookmarks in that way. But you do let the person who you have favorited the toot, which is what we say instead of a tweet in Mastodon, they can see it too. So you can see your favorites, and then the account user that account. So like I favorited this message from my friend Philip Cummings. He can see that I favorited that, and I can too, but no one else can see that. That's a difference from Twitter, where it's possible to see other people that have liked a particular post. So those are favorites. Now, I don't really understand at this point the difference between favorites and bookmarks. I guess other than the only person that can see your bookmarks is yourself. I guess that's it. Because if you're looking at favorites, two accounts can see it, your account can see it, and the one that you favorited can see it. With bookmarks, you can just see that. And so, as an example of some of the ways that I'm using this particular Mastodon app, I want to show you kind of my process of what I'll do when I find a, a, a post, which is a toot that I like, and I also find a person that I'm interested in, because that's really one of the keys to Mastodon is following people that you find interesting, that have information and ideas and links and things that you want to follow. But then how do you work with those things? Okay, so I'm going to go to bookmarks because earlier today I found this toot. And I have not encountered this person before, Sasha Costanza Chalk. All right, so I'm going to tap on their account. And she describes in her profile, she's a researcher, designer, troublemaker, design justice, trans feminist, technology, speculative. Okay, so here's all of the things that she talks about. And I do actually follow them. So I have followed her, but I haven't done anything else with her account or with this particular message. So here's the article link that she shared. And by the way, you can't retweet a message or retweet a message on Mastodon. That's on Twitter. It's called retweet, and it's also called subtweeting, I guess. And a lot of people would use that. I would use it on Twitter to say retweet, and then I'd add a hashtag. And that's actually something to note about. I don't know if I can see this on my account too, but when I shoot, let's just jump out really quick, and we'll see a little bit of a difference here on Mastodon accounts. Okay, so I'm going to actually flip over here to my personal Gmail account, and then here on Mastodon, make myself smaller here. Clicking all over the place and stuff. I don't want to server auction. What the heck is that? No clue what this is. All right, let me move myself over here to the corner. What am I looking at here? I am looking at my timeline within Mastodon, and I don't know at this point if there's actually like different templates that you can use. One of the things that you have to do with Mastodon when you set up an account is you have to decide what instance you're going to go with. Mastodon is an example of a federated technology. So just like with email, everyone doesn't have to use Gmail or Hotmail or AOL to interconnect and communicate. Similarly with Mastodon, you can go to a different server. When I set up my server, or when I set up my account for the first time, I set it up here on this mastodon.cloud. And anyway, that just happens to be where my account is. Now, accounts are fully portable. So if I end up needing to change, or this particular server, hopefully I can back up my data before it would go away, but I can grab my data. I can even take my followers with me. It's really, really cool. Things look a little bit different on the web version of Mastodon than they do on an app. And I'm going to go back to the app to work with that. But one of the things that I wanted to show you is one of the things I like is that when you are viewing somebody's profile, so let's click here on my profile, and let's just open it in a new window. Okay, here is my mastodon.cloud/@wfryer. So this is my current, and maybe I'll keep it forever, I don't know. That's my current Mastodon instance link to go to my profile. So when somebody visits this, in addition to seeing a picture that I've put on here, posts and I guess when you click on following, okay, so I guess you can see the people that I'm following, and you can see my followers too. Is that right? See, I think, let me open this in an incognito window. I don't know if that's because I'm actually logged in. Yeah. Okay, I guess you can see them all. Sorry, I'm still learning this, right? I'm not an expert on all this. I'm just kind of showing what I have learned so far. Okay, When you look at my account directly, in addition to seeing the description I gave about myself, my links, and these verified links, and by the way, that's a cool thing that I would encourage you to do if you have your own website, is to get your account verified. I'll add a link to that on my little wakelet that I made. This is really cool. You can see the hashtags that this account, in this case, me, I have been using and how often. So I've been tweeting with the hashtag media literacy 108 times. And EdTechSR, which is the podcast that I, co-host with Jason Neiffer, EdTech. That's kind of weird. Why does it have that split separately? Conspiracies and culture wars. I use that con CW. Anyway, it's just a way to see the kind of things that people are into. When you're looking here in the web version, it looks a little bit different in terms of the interface. And again, I can go to lists, and so if I wanted to view, my media literacy list again, here are those folks that I've um, created or put on these lists. Now, one of the big differences between Mastodon and Twitter is that you can't see other people's lists currently. And so that's a disadvantage. And I don't know if that's going to be something that people are going to work out a solution to. But let me show you how I'm going to interact with this account. So here under my bookmarks, again, is this post in order to follow this person. Now, I'll show this, I guess, since I'm here on the web. If I want to follow this person and I go ahead and click on them, I'm viewing this inside my instance. Okay, so this is showing this account inside my instance, and she's on a different server. She is on Mastodon.lol. Um, and I'm following her. So I can go ahead and click and follow her. One of the things when you're on the web version that you sometimes need to do is if you click on the actual time and date of the post and you open that up, you can find that exact toot, and you can go into the search box of your Mastodon instance, and you can search and find that, because what you want to be doing is interacting with a particular post or toot within your own server, so that you have these buttons to be able to like and bookmark, etc. Okay, so let me show you how I'm going to add her to a list, and I guess I'll just show this here in the web version, and then I'll go over to the iOS version because it looks a little bit different. Um, I'm going, and why do I want to do this? Well, it looks like she's written an article that I think is pretty interesting. That is about psyops and Twitter and covert online propaganda. And this is, I don't know. I'm interested in this article. I'm not going to be able to vouch for the veracity and complete accuracy of everything that's in here, but this is something interesting. And one of the things that we can do on social media is we can really spend time curating our accounts and creating lists. And this is a way to filter our feeds. And I'll mention this is part of a bigger project. And I have this link on my Padlet that I've been doing for a while, and I really love sharing this at conferences. I just call this discovering useful ideas, curating your feed. I'm sure I'll do another one of these, and I'll be more Mastodon specific, because some of the things that I've talked about in this before are Nuzzle, which is an app you can no longer get, using Twitter lists, which again I'm migrating away from. And so anyway, that's part of that larger conversation. So how do I add her to my list? Well, if I go ahead and click on her name, again, I am viewing her on my instance, which is mastodon.cloud. I have the option to follow her, which I already have, and then I can click the three dots right there, and then I can choose to add or remove her from lists. And so I'm going to choose to add her to my media literacy list, and then boom. Every time I go to my media literacy list, and she has shared something new, I'm going to be able to see um, to see her content. All right. Okay. Let's now switch back over to my iPhone, to the Toot app, and I'm going to show you what this looks like over there on the Toot app. And I actually I'm kind of preferring to use this Toot app instead of just the web-based version of Mastodon. Okay, so if I come up to my account, view my profile, and I click on bookmarks. Okay, there was the bookmark I just had. Here's another one, Jim Stewartson. And I'm not, I'm interested in a whole lot of things, but one of the media literacy projects that I'm doing um, is called Conspiracies and Culture Wars. And so I'm tracking different things that have to do with our culture war, which apparently includes these attacks that happened a few weeks ago on a electrical power station, substation just east of where we live in North Carolina. It's a few hours away. Okay, so I want to tap on Jim uh, Stevenson, Stewartson. Um, I This is my process when I decide whether I'm going to follow someone and am I going to put them on a list. He says he's an Emmy-winning producer. He investigates QAnon and disinformation, cults and psychological operations. This is a pretty political account, but it's something of interest to me. So I'm going to click follow. So now I have followed him and I would see him in my feed. But I also want to put him on a list. So again, there are three dots. In this case, they're in the upper right corner of the profile. And if I needed to create a list, I think I actually have to, I can choose add to list here. So these are all the things that I can do um, inside the Toot iOS app. That's interesting. A feature on profile. Huh. I didn't know that. I guess I could feature that account on my own profile. I'll click add to list, and then I've got my different lists. So I have a list today for media literacy. I've had a list for Yodas, which are sort of mentors or just people that I really they share generally quite a bit, and I really want to kind of track with what they're sharing. It's just like a personal favorites list. I have one of those on Twitter as well. A list about space, journalists, news, security, and free and open source software, or FOSS. Those are the lists that I currently have right now. So I'm going to put Jim Stewartson on my media lit list. I could create a new list if I wanted to, but I actually don't. So I'm going to put him on a current list. So I'm going to add to list, and then I tap media lit, and now he is on my media literacy list. So um, the other thing that I might want to do, and I think I'll actually do this, I'll do this for this particular article. All right, I'm going to show how to. I can't retweet this. I can boost it, and so I think I did um, because no, I just favorited it. Um, so I can just boost it, and then other people are going to see this post. Interesting that she didn't have a link to Li Fang. She had a link to The Intercept. Okay, and so this here. I'm just showing you kind of how when I'm encountering stuff. What do you do with this information? So this appears to be the who knows? Hopefully it's an official account of The Intercept. Um, I'm going to click follow to follow this. I'm also going to tap on the three dots. I'm going to choose to add to a list. This is news. So I'm going to click on news. Now this Intercept in Mastodon channel is a part of that. Oh, look, and they've got the same article here that links to the one that I'm about to share. If I click favorite here, I got to remember who gets to see that. I get to see my favorites, and then whoever is running the Intercepts account gets to see it, but other people don't get to see this. I'm going to actually boost this post that's coming from what appears to be the Intercepts official account. And I've just encountered this person. One of the things we have to be aware of is when we boost or reshare, content. Well, we're amplifying that person, and I very well may want to amplify her. I don't know though, but I know that I want to amplify this particular article, and so I'm going to choose boost. And now anybody who's following me on Mastodon is going to be able to link to this and to see this. Okay. Now, the other thing that I am going to do now, because when I would retweet things, I loved to share things with Twitter hashtags. Okay. And let me actually jump out and show something. I'm gonna have to stop because I could talk about this probably too long. Let me show you a pretty amazing Google document. So I'm going to go to my Google Drive and I'm going to put in, well, I guess I can show this with, these are, well, here is the 40th Google Doc that's called ConCW, Conspiracies and Culture Wars Project Resources. I have set up an automatic if this then that applet so that every time I tweet a I send a tweet that includes the hashtag ConCW, it automatically appends that link to this Google document. Okay. I use this all the time. One of the ways that I use this is the web show that I do with Jason Neiffer. We have a curated list of links. And this is an example of using social media as a way to collect information and be able to find it later. All right. So we've got a show actually tonight, and Jason has started to put links in here. Here's our show from last week, and all the links that are in bold we actually talked about. And so, we compile these and we curate these. Well, one of the ways that I curate is I use hashtags and share those on social media. And I've been doing this on Twitter. I need to get this set up to work on Mastodon as well. But anyway, these are all the most recent links that I have thought, ooh, maybe I want to talk about this in our web show. And it's just a really nice way to be working with information in a social media app like the Toot Mastodon app on my phone or just on a web browser, and then be able to take that information, have it saved somewhere, and then be able to go back to it later. And then in this case, we curate it. I've been doing the same thing for this Conspiracies and Culture Wars Media Literacy Project, which, by the way, if you go to my website, medialiteracy.westfryer.com, and you scroll down to Conspiracies and Culture Wars, this is something I've been doing since 2019, and the updates and presentations and things like that I've done on this are going to be discussed here on this webpage. I think I'm going to write a book about this at some point, but there's information, links, videos, stuff that I'm encountering frequently about this. And so one of the things that I choose to do is to create a Google Doc of these links so that I can go back. And as you can see, there's 40 of these that have been created. Okay, and then I guess I'll show you one more thing. So here's if this, then that. So the applets that I currently use here do things like, turn our lights on and off and certain things. But here's an example of how I use it with my classroom Wonderlinks. So if I share a tweet and I use the hashtag Wonderlink, then it automatically posts to a Blogger blog that's embedded on a Google site that I have for my students. Let me show you that. So I have a website where I share all of my media literacy lessons, lessons.westfryer.com. And if I click here on the top on Wonderlinks, here on the left are curated links that I have shared with my students that we end up talking about at the start of class. Okay, and I've been doing this this is my 4th year to do this. If you scroll down on the right side underneath Wonderopolis, the kids should see this, some other sites, I have this embedded link of Wonderlinks. And so this is embedded with a special little power.io widget. But here's the free Blogspot account that I set up. And anytime, again, that I use this hashtag Wonderlinks, it just automatically posts here to this blog. I think this is really cool. It's a neat way to curate. And the challenge that I have now, and I need to figure out, is if this then that currently doesn't have a service for Mastodon. I've seen some people that are creating special apps that are doing this, but anyway, it's not quite as easy to do this with Mastodon, I guess, as it is with Twitter, but I think I'll still be able to do that. Okay, maybe I'm talking too long. I don't know, but if you're interested in this stuff, I hope this helps you. Let me go over now again to my screen, and I'll just show you how I'm going to share this on my phone from the Toot app. I haven't lost my screen mirroring. I think I did. One of the things that's a bummer about, I'm going to quit my Air Server app and I'm going to launch it again. We'll see if this helps. Air Server, another way that you can share your screen is it's possible to hook it up directly. But I didn't bring my cable. I have a MagSafe charger for my phone, and I didn't bring anyway, in this particular room where I am, the charger. And man, it's not going to let me screen mirror. All right. You know what I think I'm going to do? Let me go back to the link list that I shared originally for Mastodon tips, make sure that I've addressed those, and then I'm probably just going to wrap this up. So I've talked about some of the other apps that I've tried on the iPhone for Mastodon are. So I can make this a little bit bigger. Mastodon for iPhone, Toodle for Mastodon, and the first one that I ever started to use back in 2017 was called Amarok. I don't even think that one's available. I've tried those. I don't recommend them. Toot is the best app, but I think it's a $3 app. The other one that I'll need to link here is Metatext, and Metatext is pretty strong. So anyway, you're welcome to try those. One of the best things that we can do for each other, by the way, is to serve as filters for each other. And so when somebody has done something a little bit more than we have, has a little more expertise and has some tips, they can share them. That's the whole reason I'm doing this, maybe to save some time. So go for the app Toot. This is my actual. Oh no. Let me see if this. Yeah, good. It opens in another window. This post on Mastodon references a super cool feature called data portability. And actually, Elizabeth Tai is the person who originally shared this. And so I replied to her on Mastodon. I said, uber cool feature of Mastodon, data and follower portability. Because this is something that we don't really have with Twitter, not very easily, to just say, hey, let me grab, you can download your data, but there are issues with that, and you can't bring all your followers with you and the people that you follow. You have to basically recreate your account on Instagram. That's not true with Mastodon. So once we become invested in Mastodon, we create accounts here. Again, something changes with our server. I happen to be today on mastodon.cloud. If I want to switch to a different server at some point, I can actually export all of my posts that I've shared on Mastodon and all of the folks that I follow. And I think the ones that follow me too. And then they can just move with me to a new platform. All right, that's very, very cool. Because I don't know when and where in time you might be looking at this presentation, I will mention that I have created a website, which is wesfryer.com/after. And you can go to that website. And this is where I've put all of the different places where you can follow me on social media. So underneath social media, I'm going to actually move Mastodon to the top. I've still got my Twitter, but there's a lot of different places where I share stuff. And I've just found it's nice to have one website that links to all those. And I'm planning to keep paying for and hopefully keeping available the website wesfryer.com. So this was sort of a catalyst for this. Policy changes at Twitter. This is an example of a thread within Mastodon. So I posted this message and then I replied to that message to create a thread. And that, just like with Twitter, is a way that you can share a longer series of ideas that people can find that will be connected together. And that's what a thread is. So back on Saturday, I realized, because I don't know, it was something I saw from somebody else and then I tried it. Basically, Twitter decided to ban people, some journalists for starters, who were sharing out their Mastodon link. And it created this fear. And whether this is going to change now, who knows? Things are changing so quickly with all of this. I don't know. Would you risk a ban if you link to your Mastodon account from your Twitter account? I used to do that. This was the original policy, which was posted there, and then was taken down by Twitter. So anyway, the promotion of alternative social media platforms. If you go to the original Twitter account, it's taken offline. So I went to the Internet Archive at archive.org, web.archive.org, and this is the archived version of that page that you can still view. Anyway, that was part of the story of doing all this. Another part of the story is, again, let's see if this opens. Yay! So here's a tweet that I shared talking about it being unfortunate because I saw that this was happening. I had my Mastodon account listed as my main profile link on Twitter, And so I went ahead and changed that. Then I thought, oh gosh, there are these apps, which I think I'll link this one. Debirdify. Debirdify is a web app that has been created. And by the way, you need to be careful with these, right? Because when you authorize access to your account, you access read-only with Debirdify. You grant read-only access to your Twitter account. And then if people have a Mastodon link in their profile, it can allow you to automatically follow them. So anyway, now you can't add your Mastodon link in Twitter in your profile because, you know, Elon thinks that's competitive. And anyway, this is part of the whole issue of what's happening. It was part of the story of how I came to today where I'm using Mastodon. This is just an example of what I've already demonstrated, which was how you can be adding a user to a list. I think that's fantastic. I encourage you, if you're using Mastodon, to experiment with lists. And then I've got a link here at the end to just my Mastodon instance, as well as this discovering useful ideas. So I have probably talked longer than I intended to, but you know what? You're getting what you're paying for because this is all free. I hope this is seriously helpful to you. I really do enjoy using social media. I have had so much personal benefit from using social media. I've been blogging since 2003 and podcasting since 2005. And I'm getting really old, but I still really do enjoy using social media and using these tools. So my encouragement to you is to experiment. Find ways that Mastodon can fit into the strategies and applications and tools that you have in your own toolbox for your smartphone, for your computer, for whatever digital devices you use, to be able to connect with people who share ideas that you potentially would find interesting, folks that you trust. And that's why I call this discovering useful ideas. Good luck to you, and I hope to connect with you down the road. Take care. Bye.